Seasons walk. You might be able to hear I have a little bit of a cold that I'm getting over today, but I wanted to share some things with you on this Faith Friday about how we can walk in wisdom. An obvious place to look in the Bible to find God's wisdom is in Proverbs. And this month we are going to look at a couple different things in Proverbs, but I actually wanted to start out in a different book that is talked about a little bit less often, but is one of my favorites. Right after the book of Proverbs is the book of Ecclesiastes. So Ecclesiastes was actually my favorite book growing up in high school, and so when I thought about talking about how we walk in wisdom, I wanted to share some pieces from it with you. What advantage does man have in all his work which he does under the sun? A generation goes and a generation comes, but the earth remains forever. Also the sun rises and the sun sets, and hastening to its place, it rises there again. Blowing towards the south and turning towards the north, the wind continues swirling along, and on its circular courses the wind returns. All the rivers flow into the sea, yet the sea is not full. To the place where the rivers flow, there they flow again. All things are wearisome, man is not able to tell. The eye is not satisfied with seeing, nor the ear filled with hearing. That which has been is that which will be, and that which has been done is that which will be done. So there is nothing new under the sun. Is there anything of which one might say, "See this, it is new, already it has existed for ages which were before us"? There is no remembrance of earlier things, and also of the latter things which will occur. There will be for them no remembrance among those who will come later still. I really relate to this passage, both as an artist and as a mom. As an artist, it can feel like, do we really need another painting of a mountain or a tree? Everything has been done. And I think in some ways it's good to keep that in mind, that I'm not doing anything groundbreaking and new. But I think that I can still do something that is beautiful and valuable. But as a mom, these verses make me think more of dishes and laundry and picking dirty socks up off the floor. It's been done, it will be done again, over and over again, and no one will remember that I did it. But still, these little jobs, these everyday moments are what build up and make our life. In chapter 2 of Ecclesiastes, verse 24, it says, "There is nothing better for a man than to eat and drink and tell himself that his labor is good. This also I have seen, that it is a gift from the hand of God. For who can eat and who can find enjoyment without him? For to a person who is good in his sight, he has given wisdom and knowledge and joy." In chapter 3 is probably the most well-known in Ecclesiastes. It says, there is an appointed time for everything, and there is a time for every event under heaven, a time to give birth and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to uproot what is planted, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to tear down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to throw stones and a time to gather stones, a time to embrace and a time to shun embracing, a time to search and a time to give up as lost, a time to keep and a time to throw away, a time to tear apart and a time to sew together, a time to be silent and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace, What profit is there for the worker for that in which he toils? I have seen the task which God has given the sons of men with which to occupy themselves. He has made everything appropriate in its time. He has also set eternity in their hearts, yet so that man will not find out the work which God has done from the beginning even to the end. I know that there is nothing better for them than to rejoice and to do good in one's lifetime. Moreover, that every man who eats and drinks and sees good in all his labor, it is the gift of God. I know that everything God does will remain forever. There is nothing to add to it, and there is nothing to take from it. For God has so worked that men should fear him. And then at the end of that chapter, in verse 22, I have seen that nothing is better than that man should be happy in his activities, for that is his lot. For who will bring him to see what will occur after him? And chapter 5 of Ecclesiastes starts, Guard your steps as you go to the house of God, and draw near to listen rather than to offer the sacrifice of fools, for they do not know that they are doing evil. Do not be hasty in word or impulsive in thought to bring up a matter in the presence of God. For God is in heaven and you are on earth, therefore let your words be few. Ecclesiastes 7:14. In the day of prosperity be happy, but in the day of adversity consider, God has made the one as well as the other, so that man will not discover anything that will be after him. And then I'm just going to read the very end of Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiastes is only 12 chapters long, and it's a book that I would recommend reading straight through all the way. It's short enough you can kind of get his whole picture of what he's thinking as he writes it. But in Ecclesiastes 12:9-14 it says, in addition to being a wise man, the preacher also taught the people knowledge, and he pondered, searching out and arranged many proverbs. The preacher sought to find delightful words and to write words of truth correctly. The words of the wise man are like goads, and masters of these collections are like well-driven nails. They are given by one shepherd. But beyond this, my son, be warned. The writing of many books is endless, and excessive devotion to books is wearying to the body. The conclusion, when all has been heard, is, fear God and keep his commandments, because this applies to every person. For God will bring every act to judgment, everything which is hidden, whether it is good or evil. So as we're seeking to walk in wisdom, there are many books that have been written on the topic, and we could definitely wear ourselves out thinking about it and studying them all. But let's focus on God's Word. Let's look to God's Word for advice. True wisdom comes from the one true shepherd. It comes from God. So consider carefully as you are walking what you are doing, whether it is right in God's eyes, and walk in wisdom in all that you do. I'll see you next time.